So basically, this is our last chapter. So after this chapter, I will not take any class. So in that case, if you find any difficulties for any of the class lectures or any of the topics, in that case, you can contact me, and then only I will take the class. So otherwise, after this class, I will not take any class because your syllabus is over. So this is your last class lecture. So in the before classes, we have discussed about our intersection, that what are the different types of intersection, and when you have to go for the rotary intersection, when you have to go for the other type of the intersection. Now the thing is, in the intersection design, there is another problem which you can observe in maximum of the road section, that is a parking problem. That is, vehicle parked near the intersection area, and for this parking of the vehicle, the width of the road is considerably reduced. Sometimes vehicles are parked in the intersection region also, that will cause to the congestion of the traffic. Therefore, this parking condition needs to be understood whenever you are going for the survey for a particular intersection. Now, the thing is, there are different types of parking. One is on-road parking and another one is off-street parking. So, on-road parking or on-street parking is the parking where you park the vehicle beside the road section. And off-street parking is that type of parking where you park your vehicle in a separate parking area which is at a distance from your main road. Okay, so basically that are the two different things for that parking. But for our intersection design, the main difficulties which we will face, that is from the on-road parking. Okay, so from the on-road parking, there are different types of on-road parking. Now, these different types of on-road parking is based on the position of the vehicles, that how they are parked. So basically, how the vehicles are parked based on these different on-road parking conditions are there. So first type is parallel parking. So in the parallel parking, basically what happens, you park your vehicle in the parallel direction, and that your parallel parking, that is your vehicle park would be parallel to the direction of the traffic. So suppose if your road is like that, then your vehicle's park would be like that. So this basically that is called parallel parking. Now in the parallel parking condition, there are different advantages and different disadvantages. So what are the advantages? Advantages is that in this parallel parking condition, the width of the road occupied is very much less. Now the length very much less, therefore there is very little chances of disruption of the traffic. Now whenever you park or unpark your vehicle, in that case also there are very little chances of congestion, because in the parallel parking condition there is very little disturbance to the ongoing traffic stream. Okay, now, what are the disadvantages? Disadvantage is, as you are parked your vehicle in the parallel direction, therefore you can park very lesser number of vehicles in a particular road length. Suppose this is your particular road length, and in the parallel parking condition, you can only park three vehicles. But if you go for angle parking position, in that case, suppose you can park five vehicles or six vehicles. Okay, so basically these are the advantage and disadvantage of the parallel parking. Now another type of parking is there, that is called your angle parking. So in the angle parking, based on the parking angle, there are different types of angle parking. So first one is your 30-degree parking. So in the 30-degree parking, basically your vehicles will be parked at an angle of 30 degree. So in the 30-degree parking, there is some advantage from the parallel parking. The advantage is that you can park more vehicles in the 30-degree parking. But the disadvantage is here that the chances of congestion of the traffic would be more. Okay, the chances of accidents would be more because in the 30-degree angle parking, uh, you have to do some effort in parking and unparking of the vehicles. And for this reason, there would be delay caused by the vehicles. So this delay caused by the vehicles in the 30-degree parking would be lesser than different types of parking, different types of angle parking. Okay, so that are the main advantage and disadvantage of the parallel parking. Now, for this problem, see here, this is the total parking bay available over there, and your OP is the length of the vehicle. Now, your AB equal to basically, AB is equal to basically OB sine theta. So basically that angle is the 90 degrees. So this is 1.25. So similarly, you can calculate what is the total length required for the vehicle. Now your total width of the vehicle is 2.5 meters. So if you and your total length of the vehicle is 5 meter. So if you go for the parallel parking, in that case, total length required for the vehicle to be parked would be 5 meter only. But here, as you are parking your vehicle in the 30-degree angle direction, so in that case your total length required to park the vehicle would be lesser than the 5 meter. It would be 4.33 meter, because in that case your length would be your A into C or OP, and that your OP is uh, that would be your BC, and basically that particular portion is basically your 4.33. Okay, so that is your BC is 4.33 and AB is 1.25. So basically that total portion you can add up for your parking conditions. Now the total gap between these two consecutive vehicles would be BD, and BD is nothing but your D into Q cos 60. So basically this point is Q. So DQ, if that angle is 30 degree, it is 90 degree, then this angle is 60 degree. So DQ cos 60. Now DQ cos 60 is basically your this total length, that is 5 meter. So in this way, you can calculate all the distances which is required for your parallel parking conditions. Then another type of parking is there, that is called your 45-degree parking. So in the 45-degree angle parking, so your angle of parking is 45 degree, and you can park more vehicles with respect to your 30-degree parking. But here maneuverability associated with the parking would be more than the 30-degree parking, and chances of congestions and accident would be more than the 30-degree angle parking. Now another type of parking is there, that is called 60-degree parking. So in the 60-degree parking, you can park more vehicles. The delay caused by the vehicles for the parking and unparking would be more than your 45-degree parking, but you can park more vehicles in case of 60-degree parking conditions. Now another type of parking is there. That parking is called right angle parking. So basically in the right angle parking, you can park maximum number of vehicles. But in this case, what will happen, that the maneuverability associated with the parking and unparking vehicle would be huge, and therefore there are huge chances of risk in this type of parking and unparking of the vehicles. So these are the different types of parking. Now another parking which we have already discussed, that is off-street parking. Now in the off-street parking also you can facilitated different type of angle parking or parallel parking as per the convenience. But as the off-street parking do not affect the traffic stream, therefore you can go for the any type of that angle parking or parallel parking which is required. But for the off-street parking, it is always advisable to go for the angle parking, like 45-degree or 60-degree or 90-degree parking, because in that cases you can accommodate maximum number of vehicles in a particular area, and that vehicles can also, if you go for the angle parking, in that case that vehicle can also be accessible to the entry and exit route very much easily. Now, these are the some data for the parking requirements. That is how much parking space is required for different types of offices or buildings. Okay, so suppose there are for residential plot is there, and that area is less than 300 square meter. So in that type of area, residential area of lesser than 300 square meter, they require only community parking space. Community parking space means a common parking space. You do not need any separate parking space. And for residential plot area from 500 to 1000 square meter, minimum 1/4 of the open area should be reserved for parking. Suppose there are some flats, and in the ground floor there is an open place. Now from the open place, that 1/4 of the open place should be always reserved for the parking of the vehicles. And offices may require at least one space for every 70 square meter as parking area. Now suppose your office is 140 square meter or 210 square meter. So if it is 140 square meter, in that case you need at least two parking space, and if it is 210 square meter, in that case you need three parking space. Then one parking space is enough for 10 seats in a restaurant. So if in a restaurant there are 100 seats, then you need at least 10 parking spots. And in the theaters and cinema halls, need to keep only one parking space for 20 seats. So if there are 100 seats, you need 5 parking spots. So thus the parking requirements are different for different land use zones. Now, what are the different ill effects of the parking? So that thing we have already discussed, that congestion of the traffic. Now, because of the parking and unparking of the vehicles, the existing traffic stream will be disturbed, and therefore congestion may happen in the traffic. Yes, one parking spot means for only one vehicle. So one parking spot means for only one vehicle, one four-wheeler vehicle. So basically that are the primary conditions. So basically they are the primary conditions or whenever no data is available. Now if you know that from a residential area, there are 20 families who all of them have their vehicles. In such cases you can construct. But whatever written is over there, that is the minimum requirement. That minimum you have to provide this. Then accident. Now because of this maneuverability conditions, because of this maneuverability, some accidents may happen, because whenever you are parking your vehicle and unparking your vehicle, sometimes you will not see whether any other vehicles will be coming or not in the traffic stream, or any other vehicles which is moving in the traffic stream, suddenly they will come, or you will unpark your vehicle, and some accidents may happen. Then environmental pollution. Now because of that parking and unparking, and because of that maneuverability associated with that parking, there are fuel consumption increased, which will increase the environmental pollution in the area. Moreover, the vehicles whichever is parked over there, sometimes that vehicles is not in good conditions. Okay, some leakage may happen, or some oil leak may happen, that also causes to environmental pollution. Then obstruction to firefighting operation. Sometimes vehicles are parked near a water body, and suppose some accidents may happen over there, some fire accident. In such cases, that parked vehicle will cause disruption to the firefighting operation. So these are the different ill effects of the parking. Now, let us discuss about the parking statistics, because whenever you go for the parking study, in that case, you need to find out what are the existing parking data. So, for example, for your traffic count data, you will go for the traffic volume, traffic speed, or traffic capacity, okay, etc. Now, for the parking study also, you need to find out some statistics which will describe the existing parking condition of a particular area. So in this regard, there are different parameters through which you will understand what are the parking requirements or what are the parking statistics over that place. So, this particular portions are, first one is your parking accumulation. So basically, parking accumulation is the number of vehicles parked, yeah, over a certain area in a particular time. So in a particular time, for example, suppose if it is asked that at 7 p.m., what is the total number of vehicles parked over a particular area? In that case, that total number of vehicles at particular time will be your parking accumulation. And in the parking volume, that parking volume is the total number of vehicles parked in a duration of time. Suppose in the parking accumulation case, there was a particular time, that is at 7 p.m. What is the total number of vehicles parked? But in the parking volume, you will be asked to find out what is the total number of vehicle in a range of 7 to 8 p.m. So in between 7 to 8 p.m., within that 1 hour, how much vehicles have been parked over there? Basically, that statistics is your parking volume statistics. Then next thing is parking load. So parking loads gives the area under the accumulation curve. That is, what are the parking area available over there. Now this parking load can also be obtained by simply multiplying the number of vehicles occupying the parking area at each time interval with the time interval. So suppose your vehicle parking accumulation data is given. Okay, so suppose parking accumulation data is given as or parking volume data is given as five vehicles per hour. So if it is given as 5 vehicles per hour, in that case, you can find out what is the parking load by multiplying this 5 vehicles per hour into the time period for which you want to know what is the total vehicles parked over there. So that is basically your parking load. So in mathematically, it would be your like that. Suppose this is your time and this is your parking accumulation. So for the parking accumulation, there will be different time intervals. You will get some curve like that. Okay. Now the area under this curve is basically your parking lot. So in that case, you will have to ask, or you will be asked that what is the parking load in between particular time period. Okay. Suppose that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like different time period would be there. So in that case, you have to find out what is the total number of vehicle parks within that particular time period. So basically that is the parking load. So parking load gives the area under the accumulation curve. So how you can find out this area under the accumulation curve? So first you need to find out what is the nature of the curve and what is the equation of the curve. So how we can find out the equation of the curve? You can find out the equation of the curve by estimating the relationship between your time and your parking accumulation data, or by observing the nature of the curve. Now, by observing the nature of the curve, if you know what is the equation of the curve, in that case, suppose your equation of the curve is mx square plus c or something like that. So in that case, your parking load in between 6 to 7 hours would be integration of range between 6 to 7, your fx is nothing but the equation of the curve into dx. So basically that gives you the parking load data. Then average parking duration is total parking load divided by the parking volume. In that case, you will get your average parking duration. Then parking turnover is parking volume divided by number of bays available. Number of bays available means number of parking spot available over a particular area. And another thing is your parking index. So parking index is also called the occupancy or efficiency. So parking index is basically your parking load divided by your parking capacity into 100. Parking load you will get from here. What is your parking load divided by the parking capacity? Parking capacity means how many vehicles can be parked over a certain area comfortably into 100 percentage. Okay, so these are the different statistics through which you can estimate the different parking condition. Now there are different things which are related to your parking survey data collection. So basically, to estimate all these things, all this parking load or all the statistics below, you need to find out you need to find out what are the different data available over there. So basically, you need to go for the data collection. Now there are different types of data collection techniques for the parking. So first one is in-out survey. So in-out survey means suppose one on-road parking spot is there. So in the on-road parking spot, suppose there are some locations from where the vehicles can enter and from where vehicles can exit. So in that case, you have to count the number of vehicles which parked over there and the number of vehicles which unparked over there. So basically that is a type of the survey. And another type of the survey is your, that problem is not required. Another type of survey is your license plate survey. So in the license plate survey method, you have to find out or you have to write it down what are the license plate numbers of different vehicles which parked over a particular area or particular place, and what are the numbers of the vehicles which will unparked from a particular area. So from the license plate method, that is a very accurate method. So from that method, you can easily find out what are the parking duration for each and every vehicle by comparing the number plate of different vehicles. So in this question, see, a total time is in-out for a in-out survey, total time is given and in time and out time is given. Okay, so you have to find out different parking related data. So first one is your total parking time. That parking time is given. So what are the in and out that is given?
Sir,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, didn't understand the license plate number one, sir.
License plate number means the thing is, suppose one particular parking area is there. Suppose that particular parking spot is there. In the in-out survey, you have to just count the number of the vehicles. Okay. But in the license plate method, you have to count the number of vehicles and you have to record their license plate. Suppose one vehicle, particular vehicle is moving in the parking area. In that case, you need to check its number plate and write down in your copy what is the number plate of that vehicles which is parked over there. Similarly, some vehicle would be leaving that parking area. In that case also, you need to write down what is the registration number of the vehicles or number plate of that vehicles which is leaving over there. So after, suppose you are doing that survey for 8 hours time or 12 hours time. So after 8 hours or 12 hours, you have different your license plate number which is entering the parking area and which is exiting the traffic area. So you have this data like that some of the in vehicles which is entering the traffic area, and some of the out vehicles which are exiting the particular parking area. Suppose for the in vehicles you have different number plates. Suppose your AS01 EM, something like that. Similarly for out also there will be different number plates. Now you can also write down what is the time of in of the vehicles and what is the time for out of the vehicles, that is in time and out time. Now from the in time and out time, whatever vehicles enter that particular parking spot, that vehicles will sometime will exit that parking spot. So you will get the similar number plate in the in portion and in the out portion also. So in the in portion, there would be time associated with the vehicle number, and here with the out portion, there would be time associated with the vehicle number. So from the if you deduct the in time from the out time, you will get total parking duration of a particular vehicles in that particular parking spot. Okay, so now you get this thing.
Sir, but what is the advantages of this license plate number, sir?
In the license plate method, basically you will get to know what is the time for parking for each and every vehicle, so that you can ultimately find out what is the parking duration of each and every vehicle. But in the in-out survey, where you will count only the number of vehicles, in that case, the detailed data is not available. So in such cases, license plate method, you can estimate that if there are any vehicles which is parking over there for a considerable longer period of time, or if there is any vehicles which do not move or didn't move from that area for a particular, suppose 8 hours time or 9 hours time. So like that, you can find out some policy to eliminate such type of vehicles or such type of systems. So basically your license plate method is a very detailed analysis or expansion of your in-out survey.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, let us discuss this numerical. In that case, some of the statistics will be clear to you. So basically, in the first column, time interval is given. So in each and every 5 minutes time interval, you are counting the number of the vehicles. So suppose for initial 5 minutes time interval, you get some number of the vehicles, in vehicles and out vehicles. Then you add up another 5 minutes, so that would be total 10 minutes. So in the 10 minutes time, you will get some in vehicles and out vehicles. Like that, you will add up all the 5 minutes times, and up to 60 minutes or 1 hour time, you have observed this in vehicles and number of out vehicles. Now table gives the results of the survey. The number of vehicles coming in and out of the parking lot for a time interval of 5 minutes is shown in the table. Find the accumulation, total parking load, average occupancy and efficiency of the parking lot. And the initial count, so this is the time interval when you have surveyed the portion. But initially, when you have started that count, initially before the starting of the count, you have found that there are already 25 numbers of vehicles which are parked over there, and total available parking space is here, that is 40 numbers of parking bays. So if initially 25 is parked, in that case, your remaining parking spot is 15. Now in this scenario, your in and out data is given. You have to find out what are the different parking statistics data. So your initial count is your 25. So parking accumulation can be found out as initial count. Initial count was your 25 plus number of vehicles that enter the parking lot till that time minus the number of vehicles that just exited for that particular time interval. So for the example, your initial count was 25. So 25 plus 3 is equal to 28 minus out vehicle is 2, so that is your 26. So 28 minus 2 equal to 26. So that is basically your parking accumulation. Okay. Similarly, for the next thing, your initial count was your 26, because for the next thing your initial count would be 26 only. So for the 26 plus 2, it is 28. 28 minus 4, that is 24. So for the next count, your initial count is 24. So 24 plus 4, 28 minus 2, your 26. Okay, so for the next count, your initial count would be 26. 26 plus 5 uh, equal to 31. 31 minus 4 equal to 27. So like that, all this parking accumulation data has been calculated. Did you get it? How to get that parking accumulation data? Is it clear? Parking accumulation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then occupancy, then your next column is occupancy. So occupancy of the parking index is given by the equation. For the first time interval of 5 minutes, parking index would be 26 divided by 40 into 100. Why 40? 40 is your total parking lot available over there. Okay, so basically that is your parking index, because in the formula, parking index formula is given. Parking index is equal to parking load divided by your parking capacity. Okay, so your in this case, your parking capacity, total parking capacity, what is the parking capacity? Parking capacity is 40, and parking load is basically here stands for that accumulation. So for the first one, it would be 26 divided by 40 into 100, 65%. Similarly, for the next one, it would be 24 divided by 40 into 100%. Like that, you have to calculate all the occupancy data. Then parking load. Next table is your parking load. I think this parking index or occupancy or parking index is also clear. You just have to divide that parking accumulation data with your total parking capacity. Here parking capacity is given as 40. So 26 divided by 40 into 100 for first table. So similarly for all the rows of the data, you have to calculate what is the occupancy. Then similarly, you have to find out what is the parking load. So for the parking load is tabulated in column 6. It is obtained by multiplying accumulation with the time interval. So here in our case, our time interval is 5 minutes. So you have to add up or multiply 5 minutes with the accumulation data to get all these things. So 26 into 5, you will get these things. 24 into 5, you will get these things. So that is your parking load data. So this is all about the parking statistics and parking things. I think this is clear to you.